We've gone full Wexican here on the show tonight. Wexford's Leinster Hurling Championship victory, prime in our thoughts tonight. We'll be joined by Gizzy Ling and James O'Connor a little bit later on in tonight's show to look back on events at Croke Park yesterday and something called the Munster Hurling Final as well. That's the first I've heard of it too. It is Richie McCormick in the big chair tonight on tonight's Off the Ball here until 9 o'clock, and I'm joined this evening by the Irish Daily Star's Kieran Cunningham. It's had a busy weekend. Yeah. Had a house and doing the pay-per-view the weekend, so...
Yeah, and then I think the pay-per-view finished just before 3:30. I had to leg it up the road to Croke Park, so it was a bit...
We warned him it was going to happen.
Yeah, no, I knew it was going to happen, but I'm still... I still get a bit frantic, because normally I'm one of these people that always likes to be in the ground about 2 or 3 hours before games.
If I wouldn't have done it if I was you. I wouldn't have done it. I would have said no. I hate being pushed for time for things.
I need the money.
Thanks for doing it, though.
You pay so well, I couldn't turn it down.
We do. Neil Tracy's here as well. Yeah. The happiest Richie. Limerick man, but the most quietly confident Limerick man in the world. But
nobody cares, and this must be very strange today. Like Limerick have won the Munster title. They already won the league a few months ago. They're the reigning All-Ireland champions, and nobody cares because it's all about Wexford.
It is mad how quickly it all changes.
They've hammered the team that everybody said was an outstanding team, and everybody's going, that's Limerick, they're decent. Let's talk about Wexford.
Because I remember the Munster final 2013, and we were like, oh my God, like they've won the Munster Championship for some 17 years or something like that. It was just incredible. And yesterday it was like, this is brilliant. This is savage. Beat Tipp 12 points.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the same because you just kind of got used to winning over the last year.
I don't want to put a dampener on it either. But since 2004, only one Munster champion has gone on to win the All-Ireland. So, for some weird reason.
Yeah, it's a strange one. But I guess, as we mentioned, that the Wexford's the main story. As droughts go, 15 years in sporting terms seems on the smaller scale.
Yeah.
I mean, it's now 50 odd years and 60 odd years that some others have had to endure between titles. But it seems like they have jumped a very sizable wall this year because given where they were last year,
the size of the gulf that had been there,
within the space of 12 months, given the nature of their exit to Clare like 12 months ago, there's no way that people would have looked at that and thought 12 months time these lads are going to be Leinster champions and then an All-Ireland semi-final.
I'm not so sure.
Don't say it.
I had a feeling,
No, because the reason I'll say that is because of what else is around. Because Kilkenny are definitely not what they were. Not what they were. It's the first time they've gone 3 years without winning the province under Cody, and you can just see, Wexford won the minor again. Minor yesterday as well. I think first time since '85. It was the first time they won the double since 1970 in the province. And a lot of those players, as they were saying afterwards in interviews, are used to beating those Kilkenny fellas at different levels. And it's interesting. Like 4 years ago, like you mentioned last year against Clare, 4 years ago they lost by 24 points to Kilkenny. When Liam Dunn was manager, and 10 of those played yesterday, 10 of the same players, and it would have been 11 only for Nolan's suspension. But that's one of the incredible things about the GA. People bounce back from hammerings very quickly. Like you just look at the startled earwigs of Dublin, that didn't really put them back in their box, did it? So
it's crazy though. I still get the sense that people don't talk about David Fitzgerald in the same way that they talk about other great managers. Cody is spoken about in reverential terms in terms of what he's done. I'm not going to go all Eamon Dunphy and go, he's not among the Brian Codys, the
Henry Shefflin's, Ruby Walsh's.
Not these guys.
Share guys.
But if you look at what he's won, if you look at his record, he's now that kind of touted yesterday the Grand Slam champion. But he still seems this island completely of himself.
Well, I think it's his personality. Yeah. I think it rubs a lot of people up the wrong way, and even how visible he is. Like he does Ireland's Fittest Family. Like he's released 2 autobiographies.
He's playing the Pro-Am at the Irish Open tomorrow.
Yeah. Like he's
with.
Oh, what was Brian McFadden, Keith Duffy, and who was the pro?
Oh, I can't remember. But either way, that's enough, isn't it? McFadden, Duffy, Davy.
The first time I was in the Faroe Islands, there was a poster that Brian McFadden was playing there in a few weeks after that. So that's where he was at the time. Playing Torshavn's Parish Hall.
The career trajectory of both David Fitzgerald and Brian McFadden. It's the double helix of the DNA. But Is he one of the great hurling managers?
Yes, without a shadow of a doubt, because you have to see, like he brought Waterford, he won Munster with Waterford, right? When he took them over, it was after Justin McCarthy had been ousted. The season was already on. He did no league, he did no pre-season, had played in Munster game, and he got them to the All-Ireland final, which Waterford weren't getting to in decades. He got Clare their first All-Ireland since the 90s. He got Wexford's first Leinster in 15 years. He had great success with Limerick IT. People say you have the players, but you still have the one. And Fitzgibbon Cup is a very tough competition to win. So there's no track record like it in hurling. There is in football. Like Paddy O'Shea and Micko have done it, you know, in Munster, Leinster and All-Ireland titles, but nobody else in history of GA. It's just the three of those. So by any stretch of the imagination, everybody has Micko in the pantheon. A lot of people would rate Paddy very highly. So you have to stick Davy in there.
Yesterday felt like an occasion as well. Which I think a lot of Leinster hurling finals may have lacked somewhat. I mean, we talk about Kilkenny now going 3 years without having won a provincial title. Like, it's very easy to forget that we were talking about them winning these things with apologetic shrugs a couple of years ago, and now
even All-Ireland finals, I think one of the last ones they won, and it was pointed out, and a lot of their fans got quite irritated because before they'd finished the lap of honour, a fair few supporters had left.
Place was empty.
Yeah, because they were just so used to winning. And it turns around very quickly. Like, you'll find the next time they've a big win, it will be just like the first one, because it's a fix, and when you lose, when you're not getting that buzz, you really crave it after a while. And like, I find even
can't keep that damn thing in your ear.
Something is screaming in my ear.
You're like Nathan Murphy.
I think it's still the Wild Swans are screaming in my ear, or Cry Before Dawn, as they used to be. But what was my train of thought? I'm completely lost.
You need to miss something before you can have it again. I guess.
Yeah, but one of the things I noticed afterwards was writing it up, and you just felt full of energy, and you were buzzing. And compare that to a week earlier, where you had to write about the Leinster football final, and it was just a chore, and just loads to get it done, get home and try and forget about this bloody thing. And yesterday, it was like, and it was like that, I know, because I was running up the road, and you know, your heart is thumping and the adrenaline is going. But from the very start, they went toe to toe. You know, it was score for score, score for score, score for score. And it was one of those games, everybody was saying a goal will make all the difference. But in a lot of hurling games these days, you don't get a goal, and then they got a goal, and it was such. Like, Lee Chin had a free kick, a free shot, from distance. It fell just short. Kilkenny went back up the field. TJ Reid poured over the bar, and that looked like a 2-point swing. And I was thinking, when I write up the report, you know, per circle around that note, that's going to be pivotal. Instead, Rory O'Connor just seized the day. Somebody had to go for it, and he just said, "Fuck it, I'm going for it." And he won the penalty. He went straight for a goal. And he got the penalty.
I think we have the commentary here from Southeast Radio. You always rely on local radio for moments like these. Liam Spratt was on the mic when Mark Fanning stood up to this penalty for Wexford.
And this is Mark Fanning. Ball placed 3 yards outside the 21. Just himself and Owen Murphy, two of the best goalkeepers in the country. Mark drives it. Brilliant goal! Wexford are in front at a crucial time in the game. What a strike from Fanning. What a move that created a penalty. Wexford are in front. 121 to 22. Let's not get carried away. 6 minutes remaining. Munster hurling me backside.
I love the "let's not get carried away" after going absolutely mental for 20 seconds.
Superfluous line I think I've ever heard in any line of commentary.
Aren't they a different breed, Wexford people, though? Like, I wrote about this before in sport. Like, in sport, you look at Liam Griffin, who is, like, I did a piece with Liam last week, and he's unreal. Like,
he's on this morning's OTB.
Yeah,
a bundle of energy.
It's fantastic. Yeah. You want to get a pike and just fight with somebody. I don't care who. Just revive the pikeman and fight anybody. But you look at Mick Wallace, Wexford man, a great soccer man, and a complete maverick as well. You look at Gizzy Ling, who's going to be on later. Like,
unique.
Yeah, unique. A good word for Gizzy. But there's so many of them.
Eamon Sweeney had a brilliant line today in the Indo. He's saying,
Willie Walsh.
Wexford make Leinster feel like Munster. Hurling needs them and has ever since they roared out of Leinster in 1954 to set an all-time attendance record of 84,856 in the All-Ireland final against Cork. Other supporters go to a match. Wexford fans go on a crusade.
I was at the 2017 final a couple of years ago when they were against Galway. It was their first time back there for a good few years.
Yeah.
It was 70 plus thousand, I think, were at it.
Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable atmosphere.
Yeah.
And
But
the majority, I'd say, Wexford fans on that day as well.
What is it?
I don't know. Liam had a great line to me last week, and I'll probably mangle this, but he says Anthony Cronin, who the poet who since passed away, he's from Enniscorthy, but he said he wrote about the people who lived between the Blackstairs and whatever, I can't remember what other place. He says, they're basically the quiet, placid people, but when we're roused, we're fearsome. And as Liam was saying, we are the model county. Like, it's well-tended farms, like quiet people get on with their life. But when the blood is up, and Liam always brings up 1798. He says, I know people laugh at this, but he says that is part of their DNA. He says nobody else would stand up, and Wexford stood up. So there's a lot to it. Like, there's a photo out there. If you go onto the Sportsfile website by Dara Brennan of Sportsfile, of Lee Chin grabbing the ball at the end, and that was one of the biggest roars at the end. Like, that's when Kilkenny needed the goal. The ball came in and he grabbed it. And like, Lee Chin's story is amazing. Like, Lee Chin, that was such a day for him. Like, somebody who's had such a high profile for a long time, but hasn't quite.
He needed that defining game.
Yeah, that defining game and that medal. He needed that medal. And like, this is a guy, you know, his father's from Malaysia. Like, have you ever met him? Like, he is
once, yeah,
one of the most well-honed athletes in any sport I've come across. Like, he's an incredible physical specimen. And he just did a day up day yesterday. And it's funny, in Davy's first year, I went down to Wexford with a photographer from the Star just to do kind of colour feature around where Wexford were before the Leinster final. And we were driving around. He's from Wolfton Villas, which is where Billy Walsh is from as well. And it's a normal working class estate. And we just thought, you know, it's one of those gigs you're given and you're going, like, this is the middle of the day on a Tuesday. Like, what are we actually going to get? So we saw a couple of people out there on the street, and so just asked them, do you know where Lee Chin's house is? And this was, I'm Lee Chin's granny. So she went across and she got Lee Chin's mother down, who was great crack and had great photos with us. And then she said, do you want us to get Lee? Oh, Jane. I was thinking, no. I said to her, no, seriously, Davy will kill me. About a couple of days before, because Lee was up in the house just resting before the game. So
do what you do.
But that's Wexford people. They're different. That's the Wexicans, as we
Wexicans. Any Wexicans out there tonight who aren't necessarily heading to the homecoming, give us a shout. 53106 for 30 cents is how you get in contact there. You can tweet us as well at Off The Ball. Someone saying, hey lads, is anybody ever going to talk about the Laois win at all? First thing we've won in years and hardly a mention all day. The John McDonough for them, and it's quite the costume performance and costume preparation that Eddie Brennan's doing for the Kilkenny gig, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because there is going to be a vacancy at some stage.
Dress rehearsal is the term we've been looking for.
Rehearsal, yeah.
I don't know how I'll mangle that, but anyway.
Yeah, and the fact, like, he had, you know, he was doing punditry, you know, he had a nice slot there, a nice comfortable living. But
still doing it.
Yeah, he still does a bit of it, yeah, but I would think he's looking at down the road. You know, there is going to be a vacancy, and it's good. You have to make your mark, you know, and he has done a fine job. Like, it's very unfortunate that both of the McDonough Cup finalists would be back out next weekend, but the calendar is so condensed.
Talking about that in a few minutes as well.
Yeah, the calendar is so condensed now. It's
nothing else you can do.
Like, they're entitled to celebrate for a while, something like that, but they can't really.
Yeah. Somebody else texting about Dave Fitzgerald saying, Davy Fitz, and these are not the views we should add of Off The Ball either, is every Dub's image of what a culture should be. They start off reasonable, get quickly wound up, then go absolutely nuts, only to then calm down again and tell you that they're passionate about hurling. It's Sticky and German. Thank you for that, Sticky. This Wexford will begin the Newsround, Neil.
Exactly, yeah, because celebrations continuing on Slaney side this evening, and I imagine for a few more days to come as well, after Wexford became Leinster senior hurling champions for the first time in 15 years yesterday. Davy Fitzgerald's side remain unbeaten in this year's championship, having upset the odds to beat Kilkenny by 3 points at Croke Park yesterday. Thousands have descended on Innovate Wexford Park this evening for their official homecoming. There were also huge receptions for them yesterday evening in the likes of Wexford Town and Gorey. And speaking after yesterday's incredible win, manager Davy Fitzgerald says he couldn't ask any more from his players.
There's a lot of pressure, a lot of stuff, like, and I actually wanted these boys to win so much. They've been so loyal to me. They would, if I asked them to do anything, they would do it. And if you get a team like that, as I did in Clare with 13, you have a chance of doing something, and I love doing things you're not meant to do. I enjoy that more than that.
You like winning yourself though, not just the lads?
Every now and again, yeah.
I'll let you off to celebrate, Davy, because I know you want to go and enjoy with your team. This is big for Wexford.
You have no idea. You have no idea what it means to put smiles on people's faces, and I'm happy for them. We'll enjoy it a few days and then we'll think about what's next.
God, who's a Lynyrd Skynyrd fan in the dressing room? That's what I want to know. Brilliant line from Malachy Clerkin as well in the Times today. Davy walked in, grinned first in the press conference. And rightly so and deservedly so. Great days, you mentioned as well, for Limerick yesterday. Grin off, not long off your face either, Neil.
Yeah, still there, Richie. Limerick manager John Kiley says they've achieved the first of their goals this summer after winning a first Munster title in 6 years. The defending All-Ireland champions blew Tipperary away in their second half of the Gaelic grounds yesterday, eventually running out 12-point winners against the previously unbeaten Premier County. They now hold the League, Munster and All-Ireland titles, something they hadn't done since the 1930s. Manager John Kiley says they can now turn their attentions to Croke Park and manage their three-week break well.
The whole goal since last August has been trying to get back there. We've done that right now. We've worked very, very hard to get there. And having worked that hard, I think we deserve to put in a really good performance on the back of all that work. Yeah, we've used the breaks well so far. Like, we took about 4 or 5 days after the last Tipp match, to be honest. We didn't train until the Friday night, so we've utilised our breaks well. From the point of view, fellas need to psychologically switch off and physically switch off, and when we come back in there, we go at it hard again. So we'll do that, I've no doubt, again this time around as well. We'll take a few days, we'll come back and we'll go at it hard for 2 weeks, and we'll get ourselves ready then.
Yeah, they look really, really impressive yesterday. We'll talk with Jamesy O'Connor and with Gizzy Ling, as Kieran mentioned, just after 7:30 about the weekend's hurling. But the football qualifiers are ready. The dates and times became known of this afternoon.
Yeah, the pick of the round 4 qualifiers is going to be a 7 o'clock throw-in at the Gaelic grounds in Limerick on Saturday evening. Galway and Mayo meeting for the 7th summer in a row in Championship football. The GA say they had to move it to Limerick. There was no neutral Connacht venue suitable to hold the crowd they're expecting, and the sides couldn't agree on a coin toss for a possible home or away arrangement. Now, meanwhile,
this is lunacy. It's a bloody coin toss.
Yeah.
And what's there not to agree about a coin toss?
I really hope it's that they couldn't agree on who wants heads or who wants tails.
Yeah.
You wouldn't rule that out?
I'm not picking first.
Yeah,
I think it's just...
they both wanted heads or something.
I just think there's a kind of a mind game thing. Is we're giving an inch to them. It's not coming down to whatever. I don't know.
Bloody coin toss.
I know.
And now Mayo actually have to travel through Galway to get to Limerick.
Yeah. But
now it could have been Galway digging their heels in.
It was weird because that is exercising or trying to exercise some goals for James Hoare. Like, that's where his reign ended the last time. I remember very strange setting for a press conference afterwards. I think he was behind a bar counter or a kind of cafe counter or something, and the reporters on the other side, and he was just devastated. And interestingly, the last time Mayo beat Galway, knocked Galway out of the championship in a straight knockout game, was 20 years ago exactly. And James Horan got 5 points from play. He was man of the match. So they could do with something, because they're just wrecked with injuries. Like, it's, I presume.
And on that, Lee Keegan and Jason Doherty remain doubtful. The Mayo County Board released a statement on the pair, but they didn't really give much away in it. They say during Saturday night's game with Armagh, both Lee Keegan and Jason Doherty suffered ankle injuries. Both were immediately assessed by the Mayo senior medical team and are now working on their rehab programmes. As with any injury or medical intervention, the privacy and confidentiality from a medical perspective is important for the players in allowing them the time for a full recovery. We'll monitor their progress closely over the coming weeks.
As we got told by one PRO of a certain outlet before, this is the paradigm we're working in now, Neil.
Paradigm?
Yeah.
Gee, my God.
Yeah, but they've been very... it's been interesting since James came back. They've been very low-key.
Yeah, really.
There's been virtually no press appearances by management or players this year. Other than a handful, very, very few. And after the game on Saturday, he was very annoyed at... I don't know what he was referring to or who he was referring to.
Yeah, a reporter had asked him about... I think there might have just been local rumours or something. Maybe the training's a bit too tough.
Yeah, that's why Matthew Ruan and Diarmuid Connor got injured, that it was savage training or something. And he was hitting out at the reporters for the way they covered this. Or I didn't see the report, so I was curious what it was about. But I was also interested, he said training is open, anybody can go in and watch it train. I didn't realise that, which is very unusual these days.
You kind of assume it slows, I think,
these
days.
For a top county, it's very unusual.
Also on Saturday evening, Tyrone Meath Cavan in Clonus at 5 o'clock. Speaking after their win against Kildare, manager Mickey Hart says he's hoping to have a couple of key players back available this week.
I should hope so. Yeah, I hope Paddy Hamsey and Richie Donnelly would be another week's rehabilitation, if you like, behind them, should make them more available next week than they possibly were today.
Also, a 5 o'clock start at Semple Stadium in Thurles on Saturday, where Laois are going to play beaten Munster finalist Cork. And one game down for decision on Sunday. Meath travel to Port to play Clare at 2 o'clock. That's going to be part of a double header at O'Moore Park on Sunday. The Joe McDonagh Cup winners Laois take on Dublin in the All-Ireland hurling preliminary quarter-final. The winner of that will play Tipperary in the quarters. Before that, Westmeath take on Cork and Mullingar at 3. Kilkenny awaiting the winners there. But it does give the two Joe McDonagh Cup finalists just 1 week to get ready for these games, as we mentioned a little bit earlier. And we can hear now from Laois manager Eddie Brennan, who says he's hoping it's something that'll be changed going forward.
You get so psychologically up for a match like today. We always maybe zone in on a negative sometimes, and it's not just giving out about for the sake of it, but it's a pity in a way that we're not allowed a proper amount of time to get ready for that match. I mean, you know, you've Dublin now get 3 or 4 weeks of sit and rest, and we have to do that in a week. I'm not whinging about it, just saying it would be a good thing going forward to really, you know, give us a good chance. But I can't wait for it, to be honest. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and congrats to Laois. Eddie Brennan is going to join the lads on OTBAM tomorrow morning. And yeah, we'll be talking to Gizzy Ling, as I mentioned, and James O'Connor in the weekend's hurling. Fantastic bit of history after Curling and Court number 1 at Wimbledon. And we'll get to that in a moment. But Coco Gauff has just beaten Venus Williams in the first round at Wimbledon. Coco Gauff, 15 years of age.
Wow.
She was
15.
She was only 3 months old when Wexford last won the Leinster Championship. Venus Williams had twice won Wimbledon as a singles champion before Coco Gauff was even born, and Gauff has just gone and beaten her there, I think in straight sets.
It was, yeah.
It was fantastic. I was watching an interview with her on the Wimbledon channel earlier on. Some of her teachers didn't even know that she played tennis.
Really?
She's kind of gone and done this on the quiet.
How old do you have to be to play at Wimbledon? Is there a minute?
Is there a minute? I don't know.
I think there is a bottom limit of 14, 15, and I might be wrong. But yeah, she's the youngest ever in this women's singles draw. Venus was the oldest woman in this year's draw, and she's just beaten her in straights. Anyway, to tonight's football.
Yeah, SSE Electricity League Premier Division champions Dundalk can maintain their 8-point lead at the top of the table at the very least this evening. After Friday's win against Shamrock Rovers in Tala, the Lily Whites host Waterford. That gets underway in around 20 minutes time, 7:45. Rovers will be hoping to bounce back this evening. They travel to Inchicore to play St. Pat's in a Dublin derby. Also at 7:45, mid-table Sligo Rovers are at home against UCD, while at 8 o'clock Cork City up in the northwest away to second from bottom Finn Harps, and then it's also an 8 o'clock start at Dalymount Park where Bohemians are up against Derry City.
A few texts in so far, 53106, and do keep them coming. You can tweet us as well at Off The Ball. Niall says, we win enough to keep interested but not enough to get complacent. Was such an outpouring of emotion yesterday. Spuds, strawberries and hurling. Up Wexford, says Niall. Thank you for that one, brilliant stuff. Hey lads, do you think when Davy Fitz is finished with hurling he might dip his toe into football and help us Lily Whites in Kildare GAA win a Leinster final? I'll start the GoFundMe scheme now. I'm not sure payments to managers, Leslie, are looked upon fondly in GAA.
But it's an interesting one. A few years ago, Davy did a column for us for a while when he was out of management. And I was sitting at a dinner. We had a dinner for advertisers or something before an All-Ireland final. And he sat beside me, and I didn't really know Davy, but he just quizzed me for about an hour about Donegal and their training and what Jim McGuinness did and how they used the sweeper and all this kind of stuff. So
he's a good man for questionnaires, apparently.
Yeah.
But he handed out a massive questionnaire.
Yeah. But he likes picking up knowledge wherever he can from other sports. And you can see there's a lot of football tactics they have used, as a lot of hurling teams have used the last few years.
To SW19?
Yeah, and that defeat for Venus Williams just one of a few shocks this afternoon. Also in the women's draw, second seed Naomi Osaka was the first of the big seeds to fall. The reigning US Open and Australian Open champion was beaten by Kazakhstan's Yulia Putintseva, going down 7-6, 6-2 on centre court. No such drama though for third seed Karolina Pliskova, who was a straight sets winner against Lin Zhu of China, while former finalist Simona Halep enjoyed a comfortable win against Alexandra Sasnovich of Belarus. The other big surprises came in the men's draw. Fourth seed Alexander Zverev went out in 4 sets to Yuri Vesely of Czech Republic. That's despite winning the opening set, while 7th seed Stefanos Tsitsipas was beaten in a 5-setter by Thomas Fabiano of Italy. Both of last year's finalists, though, enjoyed straight set wins. Defending champion Novak Djokovic needed just 2 hours to beat Philip Kohlschreiber, while South Africa's Kevin Anderson easily saw Frenchman Pierre-Hugues Herbert. The 4th seed said he couldn't have asked for a better start.
I knew it was going to be a tough match, and to get off that match in straight sets is a great positive for me. It's been a very tough year, but I feel like the way my body felt today is very, very encouraging for me.
This is my Christmas. First day, but just the way Joe gets excited about, like, the start of the Masters is the start of the Open or the Irish Open or whatever in Portrush. First day Wimbledon, that's me.
Very good.
10:30. As soon as the theme tune hits, I'm away in a hack.
There used to be, years ago when I started out doing freelance stuff, there used to be great mini tournaments out in I think it was the RDS, like Navratilova came over and
Jimmy Connors played it
Stefan
one year.
Edberg, Jimmy Connors, yeah.
They played on carpet, I think, indoors.
Yeah, you got to see top players and they were very accessible for interviews and everything. It was a great buzz there at the time, I remember.
It seems a very walled off sport. It's very hard to get hold of these. Well, I suppose any sport is kind of like that at the top level.
I worked at Wimbledon one year.
Of course you bloody did.
Washing dishes.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. Genuinely, yeah.
You worked in the kitchen in Wimbledon?
Yeah, washing dishes.
What kind of gig was it like?
Smelt heavily of gone off strawberries and cream. So
Clean up after any famous dinners.
That's not a joke. It did, because they do.
I'm not surprised.
The strawberries cream to everything.
The amount of knowledge bombs that you've dropped on us as regards sure I met the Pope once. No bother at all. Chelsea, despite the fact they've got a transfer ban, very finally are.
Completed the permanent signing of Matej Kovacic from Real Madrid. He was on loan there last season. He signed a 5-year deal for a reported £40 million that Chelsea have parted way with. They are under a transfer embargo, as we know, but they were able to sign Kovacic as he was already registered as a player. They have passed up the opportunity, though, to take on Gonzalo Higuain, who had been on loan. He has returned to Juventus following the completion of his loan spell.
And they want money for Alvaro Morata up front as well if he's to go to Atletico Madrid for the rest of...
God, I forgot he was only on loan at Atletico.
Yeah, there you go. And then Chelsea want him back unless they can actually stump up the cash. So
yeah, they need to keep him.
I think a lot's going to depend on Griezmann going, and he probably will in the next 48 hours or thereabouts. Thank you very much for that, Neil. And thank you to Kieran as well.
No problem.
Any more little kind of...
No, save that for
factoids?
The next day.
Drop one every couple of weeks.
I don't want to over-egg the brand.
I once made the Dalai Lama's robe, says Kieran Cunningham. Off the Ball is heading off for some winter sun and some top-class golf, and we want you to join us this year. The OTB crew, along with special guests Kevin Kilban, Kieran Donaghy, Peter Lowry and more, are taking on two of the best courses on the planet, the Yas Links and the National, for the first ever Off the Ball Open this November. If 5 nights in a 4-star hotel, a Peter Lowry golf clinic, gala dinner and Wolframe's Off the Ball Roadshow this November 17th to 23rd. Now, the roadshow's not going to go on for that long. In Abu Dhabi sounds like your kind of thing. Then sign up now at offtheball.com/open. We'll be talking Wexicans and Limerick hurling after these.
Down to business on News Talk.
Thanks to Bank of Ireland, supporting enterprise locally through the National Enterprise Town Awards. Get the best cashback rate in Ireland with the Avantcard Reward Plus credit card. Info correct June 2019. Source ccpc.ie. Avantcard DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Dancer from the Dance by Irish Modern Dance